check out what Larry Fink has to say about an XRP ETF.
Right.
I think the advent of Bitcoin ETFs is an example that we're legitimizing it. We're creating more safety.
Well, let me ask you this. Will you do another ETF? How about an XRP ETF? I know you got Ether out there. How about XRP? Can you answer that?
I can't.
How about XRP? Can you answer that? I can't.
And you don't want me to.
I do.
Well, I can't.
All right.
BlackRock CEO Larry Fink isn't just talking about the future. He's practically writing the blueprint for it. Trillions of dollars, a seismic shift in the world of finance, and XRP sitting right at the center of it all in 2025. Picture a world where BlackRock, the financial titan, is channeling the unstoppable momentum of Ripple, bolstering XRP like no one else can. What does that mean for the markets, for institutions, and for everyday investors? Over the next few minutes, we're going to dive deep into the seismic acquisition, a jaw-dropping $1.25 billion deal that's redefining the crypto space and the path that led Ripple to make such a momentous move.
And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold in many ways. Instead of investing in gold as a hedge against inflation, a hedge against the onerous problems of any one country or the devaluation of your currency, whatever country you're in. Let's be clear, Bitcoin is an international asset. It's not based on any one currency. And so it can represent an asset that people can play as an alternative. I would call, the foundation of BlackRock is about hope. You invest for retirement because you believe tomorrow is better than today.
Let's set the stage. Early this morning, breaking news echoed across trading floors. Ripple, the digital asset innovator, sealed a landmark deal acquiring Hidden Road for a staggering $1.25 billion. For some, that was the wake-up call that triggered a frenzy. For others, it was just another chapter in the roller coaster ride of crypto markets. But this wasn't random market noise. It was a deliberate, strategic play by Ripple that speaks volumes about where digital assets are headed. I want you to imagine standing on the edge of this revolution. Ripple's move isn't just about a financial transaction. It's about positioning for long-term dominance. With Hidden Road's impressive track record, clearing over $3 trillion annually and servicing 300-plus top-tier institutional clients, Ripple is not merely participating in the future of finance. They're engineering it. This isn't a case of nostalgia for the old days of centralized banks. This is digital alchemy at its finest. It begs the question, what happens when institutional capital meets cutting-edge blockchain innovation? And the answer might just be in the trillions.
Ripple XRP just made a power move that I believe is going to change the game. And I'm not telling you to buy, hold, or sell XRP. I'm just telling you that Ripple has bought prime broker Hidden Road, and it could have a major impact on the financial market. Hidden Road really only deals with institutions and, family offices, things like that. They don't deal with retail, but they move about $3 trillion a year. And now all that revenue is gonna go to Ripple.
As we move further, let's talk about the characters behind this financial drama. On one side, you have Larry Fink, the steadfast BlackRock CEO, whose vision for the future of money is as bold as it is unyielding. Fink has long been a strategist who sees beyond the surface of market fluctuations, and his perspective on XRP is nothing short of revolutionary. It's said that behind his calm, calculated exterior lies a deep-seated conviction that the next phase of financial evolution is already upon us. And on the other side, there's Ripple, a company that's never been content with the status quo. Driven by a desire to break barriers and redefine how capital flows globally, Ripple's team of innovators is poised to inject billions into XRP's ecosystem, ultimately laying the groundwork for this digital asset to become a powerhouse in a reimagined financial landscape. Now take a moment and consider this. If Ripple is on a trajectory to transform not only itself, but the entire crypto industry, what does that imply for XRP? It's not just about incremental growth or the occasional profitable trade. This is a blueprint for a massive infusion of capital, for an era where institutional trust in the bridging of traditional finance and decentralized platforms paves the way for transformative change. And who better to stake a claim in this unfolding revolution than BlackRock? That's right, Larry Fink and his team are betting big on XRP.
The chairman and CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink.
Has this changed your view of crypto at all?
Oh, I actually believe most of the companies are not going to be around. This technology is going to be very important. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling. No, I mean, the transformation, think about it, instantaneous settlement, bonds and stocks. No middlemen, we're going to bring down fees even more dramatically.
I'm reminded here of how the crypto community reverberated with excitement when Ripple's acquisition was announced. Social media exploded with reactions from seasoned traders and longtime believers alike. I panic bought at 1.60. Every dip is an opportunity. It was more than sentiment. It was the rallying cry of an entire army. Ripple isn't new to making waves. With every public statement, whether it's Brad Garlinghouse's measured confidence or the emphatic declarations from Ripple's top brass, there's an unmistakable message. We're redefining the rules of engagement. The acquisition of Hidden Road is the deal of the decade in the crypto world, but the story stretches far beyond the raw numbers. Hidden Road, with its status as the first crypto company to own and operate a global multi-asset prime broker, represents the merging of two divergent worlds. One is the nimble, innovative digital asset space, and the other, the seasoned, methodical domain of traditional finance. Hidden Road's clearing operations, facilitating more than $3 trillion in annual transactions, are like the intricate gears of an ancient clock, set now to drive the pulsating heart of this digital revolution.
This deal to buy Hidden Road, $1.25 billion, what did you make of that?
Well, it's a big deal in the crypto world. You know, that's Ripple's biggest acquisition. I think it's one of the biggest crypto acquisitions in history. And it really speaks, I think, to that idea of a prime brokerage in the crypto world. I don't think people really realize that they are in play in crypto, especially since FTX. There's been a lot of demand for sort of a trusted party to stand in between the wild ecosystem of crypto and your own accounts. And Hidden Road, it has a pretty good pedigree. Mark Ashe used to work for Steve Cohen at SEC Capital and Point72. So a pretty fascinating deal. And to me, one of the really interesting elements of it is Ripple really seems to want to use this deal to broaden adoption of their own stablecoin. They're going to encourage the use of their stablecoin on Hidden Road as collateral and whatnot. So a lot of the stories in crypto these days sort of circle back to that stablecoin idea.
It's like an on-ramp, off-ramp for the hedge fund industry in a lot of ways into crypto assets.
When Monica Galong, Ripple's president, speaks about the deal, her words aren't mere corporate jargon. They're imbued with a sense of destiny, as if Ripple is stepping into a role that was written in the stars long before anyone recognized the power of the blockchain. We're building a bridge between the old and the new, she asserts, and it's a bridge that promises to funnel unprecedented amounts of capital into XRP, reshaping how we envision liquidity and asset movement in this digitized economy. Yet, even as we marvel at these high-stakes maneuvers, the crypto sphere remains as unpredictable as ever. Yes, the charts fluctuate, and yes, there are trade wars, tariff skirmishes, and geopolitical tensions that occasionally shake the market. Take the current trade frictions between China and the US. Some say they might dampen the momentum. But here's the compelling twist. Amidst all this, Ripple is strategically positioning itself as a mainstay in a system that fundamentally cannot be controlled by any single event or policy. It's an architecture built on the resilience of decentralized finance, a system that adapts, evolves, and ultimately thrives regardless of short-term volatility.
Because we were just talking about ETFs, I think it would be very sensible for someone to launch an XRP ETF. XRP has been, trading is one of the, within the top 10 for how long? Maybe its entire life. And on the top exchanges like Coinbase and Kraken, it's certainly in the top 5 of daily volume. Oh, the other factor there, because of the court's ruling last year, XRP and Bitcoin are the only 2 crypto assets in the United States with clarity from the government. Like that's pretty meaningful. So I would be interested to see what transpires by way of additional ETFs. We're all excited about the ETH ETFs coming up, but I'm also excited to see more.
I know what you're thinking. How do we reconcile these turbulent economic forces with the bold vision that Larry Fink and Ripple are propelling forward? The answer lies in the inherent strengths of the XRP ledger, a network engineered for efficient, scalable, low-cost transactions. When you merge that capability with the massive institutional pipelines secured by Hidden Road, you start to see why some are calling this the turning point for crypto. XRP isn't just a digital asset. It's a key meticulously forged to unlock doors that, until now, were barricaded by outdated financial infrastructures. Let's add another layer to the intrigue. With XRP poised to handle trillions of dollars in cross-border capital flows, there's an emerging narrative that links Ripple directly to the ambitions of top-tier financial institutions. The rumored XRP ETF, the relentless push by BlackRock to diversify into digital assets, and the sheer buying momentum driven by market insiders. These aren't isolated events. They're chapters in a much larger story that ties back to the central thesis. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink sees the future of finance in XRP.
What has been exciting is the momentum that has been building. This community is more active, more vibrant, more entrepreneurial.
XRP Ledger Apex is bringing together application developers, investors, token holders, or even people that are interested in blockchain.
If you're a developer and if you're learning about the XRP Ledger, you're able to have so much of a bigger impact. You're able to build completely new paradigms. It's almost like being a web developer in the 90s.
We're moving from the dream of an open society to a decentralized society.
In order to achieve the vision that crypto has always held, we need interoperability.
It's really putting XRPL at the center of a potential network of networks. The reach we can have into the society is enormous.
The XRP Ledger is one of the leading chains for real-world asset tokenization.
Of course, no great story is complete without a little controversy and plenty of bold claims to keep the debate alive. Some critics argue that Ripple's centralized nature might hinder its adoption, that a shift to such a concentrated model poses risks in a space that's been defined by decentralization. But as longtime crypto veterans remind us, there's power in unity and strength in the backing of a robust, forward-thinking company. Just like crypto enthusiasts once rallied behind Bitcoin in its infancy, today there's a palpable, almost contagious belief that XRP is ushering in a new era. When you look at the numbers, the implications are staggering. Ripple's strategic move not only solidifies its market position, but sends a clear signal to institutional investors. The time to act is now. Imagine an influx of capital so vast that it redefines market dynamics overnight, where a once niche digital asset becomes a global linchpin for cross-asset exchanges. This isn't speculative hyperbole. It's the kind of decisive momentum that only a few trailblazers in the world of finance have ever witnessed.
You've been talking with Ripple. The appetite from these institutions to sell these products and to get exposure to these products, what are you seeing?
A lot of interest. So we are working with other RIAs to be able to provide these solutions for their clients. We are the first, really, of any RIA that's actually registered with the SEC to be able to provide these services at scale for retail. We have certain minimums that we have in place, but we're building products that can serve other RIAs that want to be able to provide institutional grade custody for their clients, along with access to the funds and returns that we're generating for people. What I'm most excited about right now is the DR that we worked with RDC to put together. So for people that aren't familiar with what a DR is, it's a depository receipt, most commonly used for international stocks. So let's say you held Alibaba on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and you want that representation of value here with a Citi or a Goldman or Fidelity. They will issue an American depository receipt against that foreign stock, and then that can be reflected or mirrored over here with Fidelity inside that infrastructure, and you can pull margin against it. You can do a bunch of different things with it.
Behind every number in this unfolding narrative, there's an even deeper story. Conversations echo in boardrooms and chat rooms alike about how this capital influx will scale XRP's application in real-world use cases. Consider the fact that XRP has been lauded for its near instantaneous, highly efficient transaction capabilities, qualities that are incredibly appealing to global finance's infrastructural needs. When Ripple couples this with the support of a prime broker like Hidden Road, the traditional hurdles that have long stifled efficiency in global finance start to crumble. There's also the element of timing, with the market poised at a critical juncture, where liquidity, institutional backing, and blockchain technology converge. The acquisition sends a message of urgency, a call to investors that the window of opportunity is small. It's a high-stakes moment in which the margin between extraordinary success and mediocrity is razor thin, and the ones who recognize and seize it are set to reap monumental rewards. This is the type of calculated risk that Larry Fink has built his career on, a calculated bet on the future of how money moves.
Imagine holding a key to the world's wealth. Let's talk XRP. Financial strategist Prasan Aljara says that holding XRP could be your ticket to owning a part of the global money supply. How? Well, if the XRP ledger becomes the main stage for tokenizing global economic assets, we're talking currencies, debts, and more, XRP holders could be in for a treat. Right now, only a tiny fraction of the world's economy is tokenized. We're talking $170 billion out of a staggering $1.64 quadrillion. That's a lot of untouched potential. In a big move, OpenEden recently launched tokenized US Treasury bills on the XRPL. Ripple even threw $10 million behind this project, showing their serious support. Ripple's mission? To make XRPL the go-to platform for tokenizing real-world assets. With low transaction fees and growing partnerships, they're well on their way.
For the traders, for the XRP army, for everyone who's been in the trenches of crypto's wild ups and downs, it's personal. I see it in your comments, in your heated debates on forums, in every mention of buying the dip and riding the rally. It's an unspoken bond that ties these pioneers together in this frantic, exhilarating race. Each surge in XRP's price isn't just a spike on a chart, it's a testament to countless hours of research, sleepless nights spent analyzing market trends, and a shared, almost visceral belief in the transformative power of digital finance. Now pause for a moment and picture this. A world where XRP underpins trillions in value, serving as the connective tissue of a seamlessly integrated global market. Institutional behemoths, hedge funds, and even central banks might one day rely on XRP for its unmatched efficiency and reliability. And at the helm of this revolution, guiding its trajectory, is Larry Fink, a man whose decisions have long reverberated throughout global markets. His seal of approval is akin to a masterstroke in an artist's magnum opus. Bold, visionary, and unapologetically groundbreaking.
XRP is something we see as extremely efficient for settling payment transactions, and in particularly cross-border transactions. You're talking about over $20 trillion of cross-border transactions, and if you can reduce the average bips per transaction by 100 basis points, you're talking about massive savings that go to certainly financial institutions, but also ultimately their customers, whether it's consumers or businesses.
As we edge closer to 2026, the convergence of these factors creates an almost magnetic pull, drawing in new institutional investors and reaffirming the confidence of longtime believers. Remember the days when you'd hear someone dismiss crypto as a passing fad? Today, the conversation is different. The narrative isn't solely about wild price swings or speculative bubbles. It's about a methodical, calculated evolution in the way financial systems operate. And at the heart of it all is XRP, backed not just by cutting-edge technology, but by the palpable confidence of one of the world's leading financial institutions.
Next couple of years, I think altcoins that have strong flows will outperform. I don't know if you guys seen this, but there's a forecast saying that the ETF for XRP is going to attract 8 billion of inflows next year. So you can imagine what kind of impact that may have. And in terms of what we're doing, I think we have a very clear, differentiated, exciting strategy that nobody else is pursuing and nobody else can compete with us on. That's very unique. So we will build it, and I hope you guys join along for the ride.
So what do you think the future holds for XRP? Can you imagine the day when XRP is more than a digital asset, when it becomes the heartbeat of a global financial ecosystem, seamlessly bridging the old with the new? The coming years are set to answer these questions. If you're ready to be part of the movement and understand every twist and turn of this unfolding saga, hit that subscribe button and click the link down below to join me on this incredible journey.